a little bit discombobulated. Okay, awesome. Alrighty, guys, so lots of new names on here. Super fun that you guys came to the class. For those of you who have never heard of me, my name is Lizy Hoeffer, and I'm a residential loan officer here in Phoenix. And fun fact, I've had to rebuild my career a couple times, most notably in 2014. And what happened there is I ended up getting fired from my job, losing my database, having only my cell phone contacts and Facebook to rebuild my business. At the time, I was a top producer. I closed about 10 deals a month. Average loan officer closes about 2. I had the highest number of deals I'd ever closed was 167 units. I grew that to 238, 412, 529, 634, over 800, 900, and last year we closed 1,300 loans. Okay, so I will tell you that what I will teach you today is highly impactful, and it's about getting leads, right? And not so much about gaining popularity. So if you guys went and searched my social media before this class, you'll see I have roughly about 5,000 people on Instagram, about 5,000 people on Facebook. I have about 13,000 people on YouTube. YouTube is primarily where I spend the majority of my time because that's where I find I get the best ROI in terms of like I put out a video and it actually garners leads. Now, to put some context behind that, it did take me 23 videos before I got my first lead. So if you have been putting out videos on social media, if you have been promoting on your Instagram, know that this is a long-term rate of return. Okay, so nothing that I will teach you today is going to replace in the short run anything that has to do with prospecting, real life phone calls, real life face-to-faces, opportunities where you can educate people like a lunch and learn. These are all going to be the best ways for you guys to close deals, truthfully. Okay, so this is just a supportive tool to continue on the conversation, right? To let people know what you're doing, to remind them of the services that you provide. And we're going to do that through providing value and information, which helps us not feel like salesy and gimmicky. It's just about finding the right type of people, right, to service. Okay, so I will tell you that when I have focused 100% on this, growing organically has been very easy. The average person has, I think, like under 100 Instagram followers, right? If you guys have over 100, consider yourselves doing well. Like I have just used this same format over and over and over again. And the 5,000 people that follow me actually know me, and many of them have done business with me. Okay, so, all right. Are there any like opening questions before we just get down to the nitty gritty? Okay, if you feel that you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat box. And then also, if you came here to like learn something specific, I want you guys to put it in the chat box too, because I want to make sure that you get what you came here for. All right, so, all right, so let's go ahead and share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, so first and foremost, you have to understand who it is that you are actually speaking to. Okay, so a lot of times what happens is we see what our competition is doing. We see that they're promoting open houses. We see that they are talking about the house that just sold or promoting the customer photo that, you know, that has their sold sign on it. And we think that's what we should be doing because this is the type of content that we're seeing. I want you guys to know that without context, people don't know why you're posting. So if you're posting Cromford Report stats, most of the time, I will tell you the honest truth, most real estate agents don't know what those mean. Okay, so if a real estate agent doesn't know what those mean, a client absolutely doesn't know what that means. If you're posting an open house, right, unless that person is super aware of the area, if it's down the street, chances are they aren't going to go. What we have to do is we have to give people a story, like the why they're going to visit that open house. Why was it so important that these people closed on their transactions? What do these stats mean? And how does it relate to their home buying process, right? So like, what does this mean for them? If your post does not have a what's in it for them, do not post it. Okay. Now, sometimes a what's in it for them is just going to be like relationship. Like maybe you found something humorous on a post or a meme, you post it, that's okay, because that's engagement, like you're providing humor. Or you're providing relatability, right? Sometimes it's just connection, but if it has no value, do not post it. Like, unless you're promoting like how amazing the restaurant is, how affordable it is, how incredible the service was, like do not talk about your lunch. Okay. So I've drawn this diagram, and all of you guys will get a copy of this PDF, but I've drawn this diagram to teach you what things, right? Because I'm going to show you how to have endless amounts of valuable content in a moment. Okay. So first things first, remember, you are not speaking to everyone. There's like 8 billion people on the planet. Okay. We cannot possibly, it's scientifically impossible for us to market to all of them. The same thing as we couldn't market to the 3 million people in Phoenix. Okay. It's just impossible. So one, you can't speak to everyone. So one, you have to determine who you're speaking to. And then you cannot sell everything. You have to niche down. So what that looks like is I primarily work with first-time homebuyers and agents that work with first-time homebuyers. If I did every first-time homebuyer loan in Phoenix, I would literally run out of hours of the day, and I would probably have 100-person team, maybe 1,000-person team. Okay, it's too much volume for one person to handle, right? So it's a big enough niche group where I can speak to a person, I can imagine them, and I can really provide value. Okay, so big enough, right? And you're providing value. Then you have to speak from areas that you are extremely passionate about, right? So remember when I said that people generally just copy what other people do? So they talk about things that they don't know very well, or they talk about things that they see other people doing. Okay, this is the majority of people because it's the biggest circle, it's the biggest, it's the biggest area. Okay, and then they start talking about things that they're learning, right? A lot of people like to talk about personal development. And then it's things that they know well. So sometimes they talk about real estate, right? So it's things I don't know about, don't care about, things I'm learning, and then I'm going to talk about real estate. Okay. Where it should start, truthfully, is in your passions. And how you know it's a passion is imagine being in a restaurant and listening to two people talk about a subject that you care a lot about, and they get something wrong. Okay, if you feel like interjecting, if you feel like you have to provide them with more information, if it's just so important to you, or if you wake up and want to talk about this, or it's the first thing you Google, okay, that is a passion, a zone of genius. Okay, so for me, right, I am very, very into personal finance. No joke, I literally check the markets all the time. It's the first thing that I listen to in the morning. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. I also am very big on mindset, but I like have a devotional that I read. I have tracking habits. I mean, I am a very programmed person. So these are two things that I'm very passionate about. And then I also love to cook, right? So any of those things, like I can bring to the table in terms of my posting. Okay. So you're going to pick a passion, and then you're going to pick a thing you know well. Okay. And the thing you know well better be real estate. Okay. And that's because that's what we do. So for me, it's mortgage. Okay. So no matter what, one of the things I will always be talking about is mortgage. Okay. And then things that I'm learning, right? So I'm learning constantly about personal finance and mindset, right? So personal finance is probably a bigger one for me in terms of what I'm learning, predominantly because we are in unprecedented times, and economically, like I think everyone is trying to figure out whether or not we could be heading into a housing bubble. Most of our clients are Googling this. It's like one of the top rated search items, right? So that's the thing I'm knowing about. Okay. So pick which for you is in these three categories, and those are going to be the only three categories that you pick from. Okay. Now you may sprinkle in like a vacation or something fun that you're doing, totally fine, very normal. That's what other human beings are doing. But you're predominantly going to post on these things, and this is what it looks like. Okay. So using me as an example. Okay. So one, I have a very specific tone. So I generally teach using humor, and I'm generally very sarcastic and like the things that I will say. Okay. So my voice is a sarcastic female entrepreneur, right? Like this is the lens in which I tell stories. And I'm going to talk about mortgage, personal finance, and mindset. Okay. So those are going to be my three buckets. Okay. Mortgage being the thing I know well, personal finance being the thing I'm always learning about, and mindset being the thing I'm most passionate about. Okay. My zone of genius. Okay. And so you see that I can make a combination. So you'll pick one or two of those items, and that'll be a post. Okay. Now, when I have gathered the information on what I'm talking about, I have to pick out, remember, like I said, you have to pick out who you're talking to. So for me, that was first-time home buyers. Okay, and agents who serve first-time home buyers. I have very specific people in mind from clients that I've helped that, like, when I'm writing a post, I think of them. Okay, you'll want to write that down. Like, who are you talking to? Can you get an actual visual? What were the things that these people were talking about when they said that they had questions throughout the process? Okay, and then I've written down their 5 biggest problems that they have. Okay, so a first-time home buyer in this market, their biggest issue is a bidding war, right? Or are they paying overvalue? These are things that I get asked without question, 100%. Having a good response to these types of things will also be really great in your phone call skills, right? So good copy is better scripting, better conversations later on. So know that this has a dual purpose. They're also short on cash. Okay, generally first-time home buyers don't know how much it actually costs to buy a home. And in the last decade, sellers paid all of the closing costs. So this has been relatively new that they have to pay closing costs, commissions, appraisal gaps, all the repairs on a property. Rising interest rates are a concern for first-time home buyers, right? And they also don't know the process very well. Okay, so I've identified my avatar's biggest fears. Okay, the things that they're asking me the most questions on, and then I have multiple solutions. If you can come up with a solution that you coin, if you have a term for it or process, I promise you this will work way better in your marketing. I coined this thing called Smart Sense, which is just a budget plan for how to get out of debt and save a down payment in 3 years. Okay, I know it sounds like a long time, but again, I deal with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I need a long enough plan where it engages people, like they can still do it, right? And then I have a rate of return formula. I have a break-even formula. I talk about down payment assistance, and then I teach the importance of having multiple loan structures, right, during the pre-approval process. Okay, so when I'm coming up with a post though, right, so it might be like mortgage and personal finance. Okay, I will pick, okay, so if I'm going to pick one, fear of the market crashing. Okay, and then I'm going to do a rate of return formula. Does that make sense? So I'm going to pick those 2 topics. I'm going to pick a problem and I'm going to pick a solution. And that's going to be my social media post. Okay, that's how easy it is. And you can basically come up with all the copy pretty fast because the framework is there. Now, what I have found is that you also have to have a really good, strong call to action, and it needs to be in the form of a link of some kind so you can capture the actual information. So if you're a real estate agent and you have any kind of squeeze page for an IDX site, this is a really, really good tool to have it like 100% of the time in the link in your bio. If you can have multiple, that's even better, so you can specify, and then you know which ones work best, okay? But you need to have a call to action. I'm going to show you how this works. I pulled some of my own social media so that I could walk you through this framework, okay? All right, so this was a post where it's rising interest rates, and my solution is you got to lock in today, okay? So again, I'm taking personal finance right now with the economy and, being priced out of the market is the problem. My solution is locking in today, okay? So first and foremost, so what works about this post, number 1, is it's a picture of me smiling at the camera. So if you're a female, what's awesome is the highest engagement photos you will have is literally your face to the camera smiling. It also works the same way with men. People want to see our faces, but the highest rated, highest performing market data says that a smiling woman at a camera will get your best ROI. So if you have an important post, you want to make sure it's with a selfie, okay, and a smiling selfie. All right, so that's what got them to stop at my post. Then what got them to read my post is it says, if you're looking to lock in your rate this week, read this post. So I'm giving them a to-do, read below. And I'm saying many of the news outlets are reporting a dip in rates, which is true, except they forgot to mention this is a really volatile market, which means things change fast, right? And then I go in to talk about how investors are pulling out of mortgage-backed securities, that the CPI came out and it looks like inflation is a big deal. And so because I think that there's going to be like a Fed meeting that's going to ruin interest rates, I think people should lock in today. Okay, so I'm giving them real tangible advice on what to do today. And then I bring back in my tone and I say, but also I should mention I'm not a psychic, so anything can happen, which is why you shouldn't roll the dice, right? If you like your rate and terms, better safe than sorry. Okay, so I threw in some sarcasm against more expertise. Okay, now I also use the story feature in this type of post because I'm trying to get as much attention to this particular topic as possible. Stories are really helpful because they allow me to continue on what I'm talking about. So generally speaking, I'm like, I posted a really important post today. If you're interested in inflation, right, go ahead and read it. But if you just want to know whether or not to lock in, right, I'm giving some of my best advice in that post, right? So this is like, I'm giving the build up to the teaser to bring people back, right, to do my call to action. Okay, now here's the behind the scenes on this post. And these are the type of metrics you guys want to chase down. And this will tell you, did I have a good, valuable post? Yes or no. Okay. So it got a lot of likes, guys, but that's like it's not like it's a not important metric because obviously you want something that's engaging, but this just makes us feel better, like truthfully. Same thing with the engagement. Like it's helpful that people engage with the post because obviously the more engagement, the more it goes out. But these are going to be your least important metrics of the whole entire thing. What you really care about is how many people sent this to somebody else and how many people saved this for later. This is telling you I had information that was important enough to send and share with somebody else, or I need this information. Okay, so these two, your goal number is to get into double digits. Okay. Then I had 155 people who were not already like with my page that stopped and said, hey, what is this? Okay. Probably because of the photo, they stopped, right? I had 2 people send me direct emails. So this is how you can tell if you got a lead, right? You got actual emails from your post, and I had 1 application. So somebody applied on my website. Okay. For me, that's what social media is about. Did I provide enough value to get a lead? Okay. If you guys got more leads, wouldn't you think that that was great value? Okay. Shake your heads. Everyone should be like, yes, more freaking leads. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Preston. All right. Other thing you guys should notice is that I got 47% larger reach than normal. Okay. Because a lot of people stopped and read it, and I got 62 follows. Now, follows are great in terms of we always have to be like growing our databases, but these aren't all people that live in Arizona, unfortunately. So it's not going to do like amazing things for my conversion. Like if I look at this, right, I got 3 potential leads. Now, what I did not do well, truthfully, is I did not have a good call to action in my post. It should have said, if you're like starting the process, right, about like a loan, click here. If you want to check out tweets, click here. I have a lead capture for mortgage quotes on my website. I did not do this because I did this thing with stories and I got people to sign up for my newsletter. I was like, not smart. Okay, so if I could do this post again, which I will definitely be like, hey guys, if you're interested in getting your free mortgage quote, click here, right? It's a squeeze page for leads. All right. Now the next one, again, this is one that had, I thought, the best metrics. Now, again, I'm using scared of being house poor as my problem, and I'm using the rate of return formula. Okay. So this is a picture of me eating a cookie. Okay, it's a funny picture. Again, like I said, it's going to get engagement. This is going to be the reason why people stop, right? Like, why am I eating a cookie looking scared? And my first line says, I feel like debt became the carbs of finance. Okay, so what's cool about that is, again, like I'm using my tone of voice right away to make my point. And I'm saying that we live in a world that, that teaches us that debt is bad, but in an environment where there's high inflation, this is why it's good. and how mortgages are like the best tool for a market that's highly inflated. And then I give them the rate of return on their personal investment, right? So I'm teaching them something here. Look at these stats, okay? Yes, I got a good amount of likes. I got about the same engagement, but 30 people sent this to someone else. Like, this is a good post. Again, 11 people saved this. I didn't have as many people, again, visit the profile, but again, I got one application. Okay, again, these posts are getting me applications, which is what I want. Okay, 38%, 22 follows, okay? So this is what's super important about these things. Again, I should have had a way stronger call to action. I was promoting a live YouTube event when I was doing this focus. And I have since gotten way better like gadgets for capturing information. Okay, right. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna get to those questions here in a moment, guys. Okay, and now this is another one. I just wanted to give you like a different type of post. So I also post to get leads, but sometimes I post to get people to events like this one, or I post to have people show up at my live YouTubes. So I do a weekly live where I answer people's questions from around the country in regards to real estate and mortgage, okay? And so because I'm trying to always grow that audience, I do posts like this. So this one is, I'm talking about appraisals coming in low, and I'm giving a live tutorial on best practices for making sure that your home meets value. Okay, I had a special guest, Jay Josephs, that came on with me. And basically, I'm promoting an event and I had an event registration. Okay, all right, so it says, God's probably sick of all my mortgage problems. Again, start off straight with my tone. Then, in the spirit of being proactive, I'm hosting a live today with all my favorite people about appraisals. Here's what we're covering. If you're in real estate or in the home loan process, this is a don't miss. Special guest, Jay Josephs. And then if you know anything about Phoenix, then you know he's the gold standard when it comes to appraisals. I'm honoring my guest, and then see you tonight. And then I put a registration link. Okay. Again, I got a lot of likes because it's a photo of me. Not as much engagement because again, it's just an event. But look at this, guys. 6 people saved it, 19 website registration. So I got 19 people to come to this live. Okay, sometimes it's like a 1-2 punch. Okay, like they like your page, but then you got to teach them and sell them in person for it to really have the momentum that you want. Okay, so, and again, 2 follows off that again. So you just have to realize, like, this is what we're looking for is, did we lead them down our sales funnel? Okay, people who come to my page, they come predominantly because they want to get information about mortgages. They want to get information about the market. They want to know, they want to feel good about their real estate purchases, right? So my page provides that kind of value. That's what I am known for. Okay. All right. So here, before I go on to posting schedule, I'm going to look at these questions really quick. Okay. So where do I listen to this information on the market? Okay. So I am subscribed to a couple of different things. One is called, MBS Highway, which is about mortgage-backed securities. That's what it stands for. And it just gives me a market update twice a day. I also am Mortgage-Backed Securities Live is another subscription service. I like to read Mortgage News Daily. I mean, I sign up for kind of a lot. Keeping Current Matters is a good one. Cromford Report is a good one. You know what? I will email you, Micaela, just so that you have like all the ones that I do generally, because I'm drawing a blank on one that's really good right now. Okay, awesome. Okay, and then we just had some really good commentary on my photography. So thanks, guys, appreciate it. Okay, all right, so let's move on, and I'm going to talk about a schedule for marketing. Okay, so I do 3 to 5 value-added social media posts via Instagram a week. Okay. Again, I just use that framework. I do 1 direct email to real estate and agents. And then I do that same one, I tweak it a little bit, and then I send it to referral partners, and I do a weekly YouTube show, and that YouTube show becomes a podcast. Okay. So that's what it is. I do not try to reinvent the wheel, believe it or not. all of this content once a week comes off of a newsletter that I send out. Okay, so I also, guys, it does help when you use stories and you just post your testimonials in stories. I have a whole video clip on my Instagram of just client testimonials, but I generally don't make them a post. I don't think that they provide a heck of a lot of value to other clients, but it does show them that people are using you for your services. So that's why I like to have them in the stories feature, but it isn't anything that I'm like, mind blown about. Okay. All right. So sorry that slide was a little out of order. Okay. So with that posting schedule, believe it or not, everything comes from my actual newsletter. So on a weekly basis, I start writing a newsletter that talks about what's going on in the market this week. Okay. I didn't have one out for the last 2 weeks because I was at a conference. So this week will be my very first one that I've written in a while. But I'm basically talking about what happened in the market, what's the latest and greatest, my predictions on interest rates. Do I know anything important happening like an event or, fundraising, community stuff, right? But this is what I'm putting in there. And then I'm giving information for why you would move forward on this. Like, what can you provide to your clients? Okay. So you see, last week I talked about this, why this news matters. Like, this is how you have to actually speak to people. Okay. So from this, I'm pulling my same topics for the 3 social media posts. It's going to be very closely related because I do not like to reinvent the wheel and have to come up with brand new content all the time. Okay. And then this is also the topic for my weekly live. Whatever I've written about here is the new topic for my live. Okay. And then again, this becomes the podcast. Okay. So I don't want you guys to feel like you have to do all sorts of different content. Like, I see lots of people trying to, have something new to say every day. I will tell you that your news feed is seen by less than 2% of all of your friends. And it takes about 8 different times for them to see the exact same thing for it to register that's what you do. Like, this is the value that you provide. Okay. So do not worry that you're going to be repeating yourself or that you're going to be sending them the same information over and over again. It's literally how marketing works. Okay. Let's see. What was this question? Okay. Perfect. Okay. So then also, guys, I leverage a lot of other people's social media, truthfully, to help me engage my clientele. Okay. So I post their testimonials, but also I send out a lot of things that are social media-able. Like, I'm a good gifter. So one thing I do is I honor people on their birthdays and I send them birthday cupcakes. If we've done a loan that year, they've sent me a referral. I'm always at events that if I host an event, I bring these signs with me that say, "We left Lizy alone," or like if I'm doing something, right? But I literally use other people's posting about me to help me grow my brand. And I'm intentional with the things I give people to make sure that people know I want it on social media. Okay. So I've never felt like people were offended by this. I think people generally like to feel included. People like to receive the cupcakes, and it generally comes with like, world's best loan officer sent blah, 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 So this is, again, another easy way for you to grow your brand recognition and to show people that people are actually doing business with you. It's important that people see that. Okay. Now, notes on content. Okay. You cannot have crappy visuals. Okay. So if you don't have great lighting, if you're not, paying attention to the audio, those things really matter. In my earlier YouTube days, and you can go back, and my music was so loud that it was like a constant, like, people hated it all the time. And it was really painful for me. Okay. So you really want to make sure that the photos are crisp, that you have good lighting, you cleaned off your lenses, right? And that you're also making sure that the audio is great. Okay. So really important that you have good quality. And then also, at the very beginning, you have to be super consistent. I was consistent for years, religiously, did it every single day for a long time before I got to this spot where I could maybe take a week off. Okay. And people don't think anything of it, but I couldn't do that right at the beginning. So for you guys, it really has to be a daily effort on stories, and at least 3 to 5 times on your page. Okay. And again, providing lots of value. Okay. Now you also have to be really authentic. So one thing that I can tell you that people hate is they do not like the person that is too perfect. They don't like the show me the money person. They want somebody that is really relatable. So like if I've made a terrible money mistake, I'm the first person to be like, guys, at one point in my life, I like owed $67,000 and had a house that was super underwater on a two-year arm. Like that's a true story. Or I'll talk to people about, getting fired from my job. Like these are all things that happened to me in my real life that I'm telling people, hey, like this is what it looks like on the other side. It is so important, especially if you're going to lead people into sales, that they see you as somebody who is influential, responsible, and somebody that they want to be led by. And it happens through authenticity. Okay. So, like these are a couple of example posts that I did, where I'm talking about why you can't do it alone, the quality of a team, how I'm like 20 take Lizy, like these YouTube videos, they're like 4 minutes, but they really took me 14 hours, like this is the stuff that people need to see. And so that way they can like, they relate and they laugh, right? They know that you're a real human. The other thing is you have to have relatable problems. Okay. So like things that I've talked about is like talking about money with my children. I literally brought my husband on my YouTube live and we did a live about money. It was like the funniest thing ever because we literally got into an argument in real time on this live about a money topic. And, obviously at the moment I felt like that wasn't maybe ideal, but like people got to see us in real life having a real problem and then got to see us work it out authentically. Okay. The other thing is like I talk about buying a house at 23 and all the mistakes I made. Again, like these are real relatable problems that people are having right now. Oftentimes I feel that people try to be too perfect on social media. So they want to show a highlight reel of all the things that have gone well in their lives. And people like, people want you to do well, like they really do. But they also want to know that like you have the same struggles that they're having. Okay. So don't be forgetful of the fact that like you have to have real relatable problems. You have to talk about it in an authentic way, like what you learned from it. And you have to have super quality visuals, right? And they do not have to be expensive. You don't need a photographer following you around, but you do need to invest. There's like $40 in like a ring stand. Let's see, let me show it to you guys so you can see. So like this thing was like $40 on Amazon. It like arrived in 2 days. That's how I take all of my videos. And then I make a point to make sure that I have a good mic, okay, for the audios. So you want to make sure you got a good camera and good audios and good lighting. And basically the social media aesthetics will take care of themselves. One thing I will tell you is that over time, because I want to show you back to those things, I have pretty much gone to like a blue, yellow, white kind of landscape, right? Just to make sure that my branding is really consistent. Again, like and the way that I like hack it is I do wear actually a lot of yellow, believe it or not, in my real life, so that if I'm taking a photo, I'm just wearing yellow or blue or white. So just know that it's like a really easy thing for you just to like adopt wearing the colors that you choose. You do not want to choose like colors that do not stand out. I understand that whole like boho vibe, where they use like a lot of nudes is really in right now, but people do not see those things. They do not make people stop. Like if people aren't going to stop and read your photo, like, or read your quote tile, it's the wrong colors. Okay, so I just want you to know you want like vibrant popping colors, but I maybe would stick away from like a flaming poop color or like a lime green, like, like they definitely pop, but they're not great. And I have seen people who enjoy that color palette, and I would just say like try to keep it neutral. Like navy blue is actually the best color, like voted upon by the most consumers. It helps people feel comfortable and it gives a feeling of trust. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing that because I do want to take some like real life questions and want to figure out like where you guys are at in your social media. And I'd like to look up some of your social media profiles. For me, I always like want to go in and like really dig in. So what questions do you guys have? And you guys can unmute yourselves too, just so you know.
Where do you look to try to grow your account?
Like in terms of tools?
I guess if you're doing prospecting, like you're going to target an audience, how would you go about that? Do you go into hashtags? Do you go into a location? Do you go to an event? Do you even do that?
Yeah, so a couple of things, a really wonderful question. So a couple of things on Facebook, you can do this thing called a custom list and then do a lookalike audience, which is a really fast way of sending ads to specific people. And the Facebook ad manager is the same for Instagram. So that's like a really easy hack. I just take my current clients, do a custom audience, and then do a lookalike audience, right? And that, like, I'll have like one of those posts where I'm like in the stars, or like the one where I'm eating a cookie, and that'll be a post that I actually pay some money on. I always geotag every one of my posts. So I'm only really looking for people that are in Arizona because that's where I'm licensed. And then I do Arizona specific hashtags, right? So, and if you look at my posts, you can just steal them from me. And then I put them, just so you guys know, I put them as a keyboard. So you can do a custom keyboard on your phone. I have a variety for every type of thing. So if I'm talking about mortgage, or I do one that's called Mapplication, or you know what I mean? So not the actual word, right? So that talks about it. I have shmoney, you know, and then when I put them down, it just fills in all the hashtags for me. Was that helpful for you?
Oh, sorry.
The lookalike audience, yeah, I didn't know that was a thing, so that was helpful.
Well, all right, who's next? Micaela?
Lizy, what did you mean by geotag? I hear that a lot. What do you mean by that specifically? Like, what is that?
So I'm putting a location tag. So every time I'm saying like I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. So like you want.
So do you hashtag it though? Do you, what do you mean by that?
So it'll say, like, if you go onto your post, it'll say like, where are you at? And you'll just put your city there.
Okay.
And then in the hashtags, like, well, let me look at, I think I have like, and I try not to do things like Scottsdale real estate. I do have them in there, but like I'm doing like the my PHX, or like the ones where like lots of people go on that are for like, you know, lifestyle choices. And there is this app too, guys, that I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm told that it's really amazing, and I just downloaded it. And it's about hashtag creator, you know, just so that way I can just look up like some additional ones, but you want some that are area specific. So like, and I wouldn't do neighborhood specific unless it's like a really popular neighborhood, like where people are driving by. Like I think Arcadia is a popular area that people are driving.
Grotto and Buckeye.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And you can always edit your post, guys, to add a location. The only thing is that like going back and altering posts has minimal value. Okay. So, and when you edit a post on the same day that you do it, it actually gets less traction. So just know, like, sometimes I'll have a spelling error and I just like sit with it, because I know that if I edit the post, it's going to shorten the reach. And for me, it's like really like some of like even bad engagement boosts your engagement. So like if you go to my YouTube page, there's lots of times where like I stumble on words. Like one time I said the wrong year. Of course I know what year it is. I said 2026. That hasn't even happened yet. I meant to say 2006. But like it happened, right? I can't go back and change it. If I alter it, it's going to screw up the whole algorithm. I just got to own it. And then I posted a correction comment. You can post your own, pin your own comments. And I'm just like, look, guys, I'm not an idiot. I know that this is what happened. Sue me, you know? And then this last time I said 0 to 6 and then said it was a 60% increase when I meant 6 times increase. And like, I had a bunch of people pointed out those things used to really kill me. And now I just like, let it happen. So, because all of the extra comments that I got about the thing made it made the video seem more popular. Okay, so Brianna says, as a new agent, how to start posting real estate? How can I smoothly transition my social media from strictly kids at the home or at the moment to my career? So here's the thing I love. I think most women make a lot of the decisions about real estate, and it has to do about like home lifestyle, right? Like, you know, is this a floor plan that's conducive to children? Is there a gate around the pool? You know, why you need more space. And I think it's just like a natural thing for you to be able to talk about real estate and like why, like, you know, like what you like about certain properties, or like, you know, what you like about certain kitchens, or what you like about certain areas. Now, there are fair housing rules that you do have to like pay attention to. So you can't say like, this is a family friendly neighborhood, you know what I mean? But you can say, hey, this is a wonderful split floor plan if you have like maybe an office or a playroom, or, this is a really great dining space for 10 people. We all know I've got 7 children, blah, blah, blah. Not that you have 7 children, but like people do, but like, it's an easy way for you to talk about being a mom and then the qualities of real estate that you like. Okay. Remember, zone of genius and thing you know well. Okay. Monica.
I have a question. I want to very much target the adult communities, Sun City West, Sun City Grand, and the older buyer. How does that play with what you just said about fair housing?
So you can talk about the process of downsizing.
Okay.
Okay. And you can talk about activities that maybe older people like, you know what I mean? But you can't say this is, but I would say 55 and up actually is an actual real estate restriction. So you can talk about 55 and up communities.
There are
right?
even
Because they've
45
restricted
now.
Huh?
We have 45 and up now.
I mean, if it's an actual restriction for the community, I think you can talk about it.
Okay.
You just can't say things like you can't say things about race, gender, marital statuses, you know what I mean? So you just have to be really careful, because some people are like, well, I don't want to talk about this school. You could say, hey, this area is located near a lot of really amazing parks, a lot of really great elementary schools. Do you see what I'm saying when you're talking about like the area versus like, this is a family friendly neighborhood?
Right.
Michaela.
I was just going to add to that, because I've sold a few homes in Sun City, and one, anytime I posted, I did geotag, I guess, Sun City, the location. And then 2, like I would use like hashtag active adult community, low maintenance, lifestyle living, something like that. So
one thing I will tell you about those general hashtags is that they have very large audiences. So when we're talking about hashtags, you want to like make sure that you have some that are large, but generally speaking, you really want to make it so that it's like, specific to your area. Like, even if there's only 100 posts on that, you're better off getting like fewer people that see your top rated post versus like being lost in millions of people. So like in general, so when you're talking about like, like I would do like kid-free life, empty nester. Do you know what I mean? Like I would try to pick ones that aren't as like highly thought of, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I think, and I don't know because senior living for me, like I think gets older people, but I also think it gets like seniors in high school.
Okay.
And
Right.
so like, you just want to make sure, like go through them. If they have millions of people posting on them, I maybe use 1 or 2 of them, but I really try to niche it down. I do the same thing because you can tag all of your videos. It's very similar to hashtagging on YouTube. And I try to pick keywords that don't have gigantic audiences. Because again, I'm trying to find the right people, not all the people.
Okay.
Like, I know that I don't have like, thousands upon thousands of followers, but like, I don't know of anybody else in this game that is like generating 1 to 2 actual leads off of social media every time they post. Like a good post for me will generate 10 leads. Okay. And so that's why it's so important, because if you guys get 2 leads every single day, that equates to having a real estate business anywhere between 3 and 6 transactions, depending on monthly transactions. depending on your conversion. Okay, so 3 to 6 transactions is awesome without having to pay for advertising. Okay, so let's see. Okay, who else has a good question? Or who wants me to look at their social media content?
It's under Monica Marquez though. So
Monica
I think
Marquez.
yeah, I think I have you as a friend.
Okay, so Monica Marquez. So let's look. And are you on Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook. I think my Instagram is private right now. Should I get a different Instagram just for real estate?
So people ask me this all the time. If this goes into that same thing with authenticity, I think that you have to have like one life. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And like, if you don't want to post it online, maybe don't post it. So like there are photos that I want to post of my children that I just send to a group chat with my family members. You know, like, because I don't always want to be posting about things that I like to keep private. But I generally think that you should have a personal page. Business pages are primarily just to do ads, I think.
Okay.
So there is that. And if you have a private page, guys, like people want to know who they're doing business with. They want to like you. They want to know about your family. And I think when you keep that private, it's like saying, hey, our relationship can only go this far. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, Monica. You can tell that I cannot multitask.
I usually just post about my kids.
Okay, so a couple things. So Monica, what is, it's Garcia, right?
Marquez, Monica Marquez.
Marquez.
It's Monica Adriana Marquez Garcia, my entire name. So I have a long name, but I go by Monica Marquez.
Okay, well, yeah, so it's Monica Marquez on here. Okay, so here's the thing, you're posting a lot of articles online. No social media website wants you to send people outside of their org. So because you're doing that, you're actually minimizing your reach. So what I would recommend if you found an article to be really valuable is you post a photo of you and then talk about the article, why it was important, and then say, hey, if you want to read the article, I posted the link in my comments.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, but yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of that. And I'm not really seeing any like real personal content to you. Do you know what I mean? Again, like people want to know about you, they want to see your face, all that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then we have Preston. Okay. Okay. So cool thing here. So we have a grossly overpriced listings asking for appraisal waivers. Okay, so was this this first thing that you have?
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple things on Reels, guys, just so you guys know. You have to pay attention to where you post the text, because if you are posting it in your actual story, it'll cut it off most of the time. Okay, so that's a lot of the reason why I think that you don't get a lot of engagement, because to be very honest, it seems like a funny video. I probably would have posted a stronger first sentence about what this is. Mm-hmm. Like, are you sick of agents overpricing properties? Right? Like that's an engaging sentence that'll probably piss some people off. Okay. Like, and then you go into the value, right? So a couple things. This year has taught me to be more about negotiating than any other. There were times this year when I felt like sellers were trying to take buyers for ransom. I really like, there likely has never been a better time than a seller's sell. Okay. So again, we went through the framework. Okay, so I probably would have had a way triggering sentence, right? Are you sick? Well, and just say, I would have been like, well, it doesn't look like it's going to get easier anytime soon. And I know it feels like a seller's, holding you ransom, but let me tell you why, right? Talk about the shortage of inventory. Talk about, you know, how many people are moving to the valley every single year. And so if they are a buyer that wants to buy, what does that look like for them in this market? And are there still good deals to be had?
I think in the post prior to that one, I kind of talked about the shortage.
You have to do it every post.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even see that previous post. This is the first one that maybe that's the first one I saw. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so like, but in general, like speaking, right? Because for as many followers as you have, that engagement is low. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I've gotten really bad engagement my past 3 videos, actually.
yeah. So, but we still just want to be like, I tried to help them. I like that. To be honest, I actually really love that sentence. I tried to help them. Okay, for real, the writing was on the wall, summer and fall of 2020. I had realtor friends. Yeah, now the downside is I lost a few clients along the way who said I was wrong, said I didn't know the market. So what I would have done differently here, to be honest, I love the first sentence. The first sentence I think is super awesome. And I mainly, if I also too, like your first photo, like could be more like clickbaity, to be honest. Like, you know, like you looking like I tried to warn them, you know, like that kind of face. And then just talk about like a specific client and how if they had bought last year, this is what they would have paid and what they would have gotten. And now what they're having to go through this year and how different the landscape looks. And like, but still, it still is better for them to buy today than it would be 5 years from now.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Also, these hyperlinks here, you got to say link in my bio. No one can click on them.
Yeah, I started taking that out. I just haven't edited them out of all the
No, it's
posts.
okay.
Like the link.
Don't edit your post. Just leave it. Just do
Yeah.
it for future, but always say link in bio and then make sure your bio is different.
An issue I'm having is I'm getting a lot more engagement on outdoor stuff than I am on real estate. And that's why it's a mixed bag on that page. Because I'm trying to draw that crowd in, right? So I'm trying to bring, I don't know if that makes sense, but
It does make sense. So here's the thing. One, I think you need to get a posting tool that allows you to break up your sections. So there's like line breaker, just download it. All of you guys download it because when they see a big paragraph like this, people don't read them. But also if you're gonna talk about outdoor stuff, where can people find the best views and the best, like, what are you into hiking? It looks like.
yeah.
Okay, like Arizona is a wonderful hiking place. So is Colorado. Like, where are the best hiking places in Phoenix? Where are the best views? Where are the best trails? Where are the ones that people don't know about?
Mhm.
You know, like that's one. Where are the best like outdoor activities? You know, like one of the reasons, truthfully, we moved to Arcadia is because we like to walk, and like it's like one of the only walking areas with like a decent elementary school. You know,
One of the things I was going to do is there's a guide section on Instagram that you can actually post and make a guide.
I think a guide is
And
good too, but
I was thinking about making guides for hiking, making guides for walkable neighborhoods, making guides for restaurants in Phoenix, making guides for this and that. And I think that would be really good for anybody that would be out of state.
so what I would do, what I would do truthfully, because you're asking me for my opinion, is I would create those guides, have a squeeze page, do posts that are specific to that, and then have people download your free guide, and then you capture the information.
Great idea.
All right, and
Thank
then,
you.
yeah, good. I'm glad you're getting value. Is everyone getting value out of these things? Because they're posting their handles there too, so definitely go look. Okay. Okay. You're a real estate chica. I love that.
I don't post a lot. That's one of my problems. I know that.
Well, so that'll definitely hurt you.
Stories I do. I do a lot of stories.
I do a lot of stories too, but you have to do that. This is where you get your call to action until you have 10,000 people or you want to pay for it. Like you get your call to actions here. Okay. Okay. I love you. And I'm so that know that I'm sending this with love because I'm about to tear this first one apart. Okay. So like, this is the kind of post I see most real estate agents making. They post a house and then like the content is such a beautiful sight to see today. It is like literally a track house. Like if you were going to talk about moving to Arizona, capture an awesome sunset. Like that's what's truly beautiful about living in Arizona. You know, I captured these images today and it's literally just of track houses. And I know that you were trying to take pictures of the flags. I think that was the idea. But like, you know, it's like, I don't know that the photography truthfully captured it. Do you know what I mean? And like,
Yes.
so I feel like what would have been awesome is like you holding a flag up, talking about what it means. You know what I mean? Like, why does the flag mean so much to you? You know, and you're talking about September 11th. What was your September 11th story? You know, like that's what people want. That's like what they really like want to see. And then with my love, so our first day in Colorado, that's great. That's a perfect people want to see about you and your family. And then inspection day, no matter how crazy competitive the market is, do not waive your right to an inspection. Why? Why shouldn't they waive their right to an inspection? Like it's okay to have an opinion, but you've got to provide the expertise with it. Okay. Like there are lots of people who do not agree with my budgeting tips, but like I have an opinion and they haven't posted theirs and they're going to post theirs on mine, boosting my engagement.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I would get deeper,
Yeah.
take more quality photos and more pictures of you, like for sure. Okay, awesome. Okay, and so then this one was, is there a good app or tool to manage edit posts on different platforms? And is it smarter to brand all three sites using the same content or all three? So I generally, I do everything. So I like write my email on Sunday night. I plan out what my posts are going to be. And then I do the same copy, different photo for the different sites. Truthfully, that's the only personal manageable way, because the only way to get true engagement is to post organically through each and every platform. I don't post on every platform, guys. So just know that you'll see me most frequently. Like I'm the most consistent on YouTube. I am the second most consistent on Facebook, and Instagram literally is for me for fun, and it has the easiest analytical tools. So like if I'm really trying to gauge reach or trying to do that, it's easiest to interpret on Instagram. Aside from that, I don't really touch any of the other sites. Like I'm not, my receptionist makes me a TikTok every now and then, you know, but I'm like not really on them. So there isn't a great tool that I have found that doesn't like limit your reach or doesn't make you sound canned. So it is going to have to be something that you guys do, but things that I have found to make it easier, again, like I said, is I write one email, plan out the post, pick out the photos, right? The whole thing will take me about 2 hours. And yes, I do this on Sunday. You could do this on Monday. Once the week starts for me, I'm not going to get it done unless it's already planned for me. And then I have the keyboards for hashtags. Okay. Well, yay, guys. Did you guys get,
how do you make the keyboards for hashtags?
you just go in, so you have to have an iPhone. I'm actually going to do keyboards on everything, but I only know how to do them on that. So you go into keyboard settings and it's like fairly easy. I think you can Google the actual step-by-step instructions, but you just name it and then like put in your thing. I generally do them on notes, copy them, paste them into the keyboard.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Alrighty, so that wraps us up for today. I'm hoping that you guys got value out of today's class, and remember that I am not a public speaker. I genuinely teach these tips to help you guys grow your business so that I can grow mine. So if you did find value out of today's class, I hope you guys remember me for your next home. So thank you guys so very much. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll make sure to get you guys this PDF here shortly. Okay.